Breakers, and welcome to Geek Break.
I'm Hayley, and
I'm Eric.
And today we're going to be talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. Now here's a quick little bit. If you haven't seen the movie, I would suggest turning back and going to see the movie
Then
and
come
then
back
watching.
and watch this video, because we are going to get down to the nuts and bolts, the nooks and cranny of this film.
Cock and balls.
Cock and balls of this film.
Full Monty.
Yes. Hugh Jackman's Full Monty.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to get down talking about this film, breaking it down, what we thought worked, what we thought didn't work. This is all part of that contest where you, the lucky Boredom Break viewer, can win that amazing X-Men collage. Listen to the spiel.
Listen to me.
Listen.
Don't tune him out. You know, just don't listen to this guy.
Leave your comment below for us after you've subscribed to Boredom Break. Leave your comment and agree with Hayley, agree with me. Give us your own comment. We're gonna pick one lucky winner at random to win that amazing print. The first in order of business is, how'd you like the movie?
I set the bar really low, so I wasn't really.
Understandable after
Last Stand and the Wolverine films, which I have repressed. I didn't really expect a lot of it, but it ultimately delivered for me, even though they took some major elements from the plot and just kind of the original Days of Future Past plot, which was set in the 80s. And they just kind of said, let's just...
In the comic book, Sentinels have gained awareness and have decided that not just mutants, but superhumans and humans, they're all at risk. So they imprison them all in concentration camps. And in the comic book, there's still some surviving X-Men. There's Wolverine, there's Magneto, there's Kitty Pryde. Kitty, that's the main thing, because in the comic book, the major difference is that it's Kitty who actually goes back in time with the help of Rachel, with the whole the whole consciousness being transported back through the ages, and Kitty enters her her young body. Because in the comic book, Kitty's like 13 at the time.
Right.
She's just starting to join the X-Men.
It was a little bit of a problem for me because, I mean, I'm kind of a stickler. I like to see things be played out authentic, but I also understand that there are certain things that, since they had some historical tie-ins, like with First Class and the Cuban Missile Crisis in '62, and JFK, and then they had to tie that in 10 years later.
Well, Kitty wasn't even alive yet.
Exactly.
That's the main problem, is that you can't send Kitty
it.
back because Kitty's not alive.
I mean, she could have been a fetus, but, you know, probably not. No, she wouldn't have even been a twinkle in someone's eye yet.
No, not in the least. So that was a huge liberty that the film took, so they had to have it be Wolverine who goes back. And I don't know about you, but I am sick of seeing X-Men movies just based around Wolverine.
Wolverine and friends.
We get it that he's a huge draw.
The fanboys love him.
But
the fanboys are all over the Wolvie.
Yeah, and the kids, I mean, which is funny because I don't really think this was a kid's film. It was really dark. There was dying everywhere.
Carnage, ripped apart, decapitations.
It was awesome.
Well, another thing I noticed in the comic is they only showed the future once in the comic, I thought.
No, they go back and forth.
Not as much though as the movie.
I think in the comic, because the first issue, it's that iconic image of Wolverine putting his arm in front of Kitty, in front of the brick wall with all the I mean, it's such an iconic X-Men cover, or comic book cover in general, with all the faces of various X-Men, and there's like banners across each of their faces that say slain, apprehended, slain, apprehended. I mean, that comic right there lets you know
shit's real.
Yeah, shit's real. And then, so you start seeing them like on the run in that issue, and that's when they send Kitty's consciousness back, and then it goes back in time to Kitty having to stop this assassination.
That's another thing. In the comics, it was the assassination of Senator Kelly.
Right.
But since they already kind of
continuity-wise screwed all that up, now it's ball of trash.
Jellyfish blob thing.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. X-Men 1.
Was that?
That was weird. But that's what a great differentiation is between the Avengers, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the X-Men. Even in the comics, like the Avengers is always it's, you know, they have their own problems, absolutely, but they're not fighting for this future that is.
No.
They're not fighting for a world that hates them. The
It's
X-Men are. I mean, they are just always
outcasts.
getting kicked. You know, their heads just pushed into the sand, and they rise above it. And the X-Men are darker. They deal with death more than any other superhero group ever did, until then they decided to just keep killing superheroes all the time.
Pietro, or should I say Peter?
Right, that's right. They did. I did catch that they called him Peter.
Do they just not know how to say Pietro? Do they just not? Why the fuck is he American? Like, that's what I want to know. Why is he some American brat? And why is his twin sister, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be his twin sister, sitting on his lap like 5 years younger than him?
Right.
Like, what?
For our viewers who might not necessarily know what we're talking about right now, Pietro and Peter and Quicksilver. We're talking about the character Quicksilver, played by Evan Peters, who...
He did a great job.
He did a fantastic job, and I thought the character really worked despite some visual choices that the studio made.
The silver hair that made him look like an old man with a baby face.
And it was interesting. I mean, it's interesting for this whole thing to happen, because for those of you guys who haven't been following... there's this huge, hoopla over the whole fact that Quicksilver can appear in Days of Future Past and also in the Avengers movie.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron that's going to be coming out. Yes, those of you who are like, he was in Avengers, he will be in the Avengers sequel.
And so will his twin sister. Yay!
Scarlet Witch. Now, there's this very small, shady gray area between Marvel's film studio, now owned by Disney, and Fox, where because Pietro, and Wanda, Scarlet Witch, are both Avengers, but they're also mutants, they actually can both use them. Marvel can't call them mutants, and
they just call them the twins.
Yeah, and in X-Men, I don't think they would. Yeah, never mention that they were going to run off and be an Avenger or anything like that.
No,
that's easy to avoid. It's going to be more difficult in Avengers for them not to bring up the whole mutant thing. But they're also Magneto's kids. They're his children. That's why there's that little bit of a throwaway line saying like, "Oh, my mother knew a guy who can control metal." It's like wah wah wah.
Someone bring in Maury Povich. Yeah, and here's the thing, like, if this pivotal moment that changes the course of history lies on Mystique, well then Raven, before she truly became Mystique, if it lies on her shoulders to pull the trigger and fuck up everything for everyone else, enter Magneto. What is this? Why is Magneto like, oh, I'm here to fuck shit up?
Yeah, that was a huge problem for me. I loved how the story hinged on Mystique's kind of teetering on the edge between...
do I do it? Do I not?
Basically, she's on this very narrow path of, do I take this life? This would be my first life, and her taking this life will set into this chain of events that is going to... make all this happen, all this bad happen, which she doesn't know, but we, the audience, know, and all the characters know.
Right.
Or do I do the right thing? Do I follow what Magneto's taught me? Do I follow what Xavier's taught me? And I loved how this huge, epic story, this huge, epic battle that all the X-Men are going through is really reflecting this very intimate story about her own personal struggles. I thought that was really well done, and God bless them having an actress like Jennifer Lawrence
who can actually act.
Right.
Sorry, Rebecca Romaine, you were hot, but just...
They made the character Mystique, who was such a weak character in the original X-Men films, into a very interesting, complex character. She is important. Here's going to be a part where I completely don't really buy, though. I don't like the Mystique that they're creating in the film universe, because in the comics she is nuts, and she is vicious, and she is self-serving. She's
batshit.
Yeah, she's very much she's crazier than Magneto. Magneto is more the character that I could have seen could have been teetering on this edge.
Magneto's not really like the true villain. He just shit happens. He reacts, and sometimes he fucking loses his shit.
Right.
He has a very strong point of view. He's kind of Magneto and Charles Xavier are very much like Malcolm X and
Martin Luther King. Yeah, they often are compared that way. And exactly, they came out 1963, 1964. I mean, Stan Lee envisioned Xavier and Magneto to essentially be that. Yeah, as an allegory to the civil rights movement at the time.
Well, because Xavier, he just has this idea that we can all, show them the light. Don't resist. Don't fight back. Don't be violent. And Magneto's like, fuck that.
Right.
We're better than them. And that's exactly the point with Martin Luther King. He had a dream that we could all be free at last, hand in hand.
Are you excited for X-Men Apocalypse, the follow-up, the sequel to X-Men Days of Future Past?
I am, actually. I'm very excited. I wasn't sure what to think, because when you see, when they give you the little snippets at the post-credit scene, you get all excited, and then you're like, wait a minute, this could go either way. Like, when they showed the post-credit scene for Captain America 2 with the twins, I got a little excited, and I'm not sure what to think. I guess you just have to wait until it comes out, because it could go either way. It could be fucking amazing, or it could just be a train wreck.
Viewers who don't know who Apocalypse is, he is a evil mutant. Thank God we have another evil mutant in the mix of our X-Men films. Thank God it's not just fucking
Magneto. Watch them make it about Magneto.
I bet you it is. I bet you it's going to be about Magneto. I bet you, Apocalypse is going to be all bad shit for the first couple acts, and then third act's gonna be
Magneto's gonna come fucking crashing through Magneto.
Apocalypse is an evil mutant who believes that the strongest will survive. He doesn't care even if it's mutant or human. He just wants to see the strongest survive.
So basically it's social Darwinism.
Exactly. It's exactly what he is, and he's going to pit mutants against each other to weed out the weak. And he has these 4 horsemen of Apocalypse, and he's eternal. He's been around for ages. He's worshipped as a god by ancient civilizations. And so the end credits scene with him being in Egypt, I mean, it was very,
well, it establishes straight off the bat that
he's worshipped.
Eternal, man.
Yeah, and that he's got his 4 horsemen. There's that it was so fitting to the comics. It was awesome. I got excited, but then I was like, wait, I've seen this before. It was in Avengers.
As a younger comic viewer, I don't know if everyone has the same opinions that I do, but I'm a little bit more traditional with the stories and how they're represented in the comics versus the movies, because there's so much gray area that they just don't establish, or they change things around, and then people think that's how it is. And I understand that maybe that could work as a point to encourage someone to go back to the original source and learn how it is. But it just bothers me, especially with the Quicksilver thing, how they just kind of fuck around with that. And I'm just thinking, these are the characters that I've grown attached to. These are the characters that I've been reading and I've known to love.
I agree. I mean, it would be great. It would be fantastic if they were able to give us the Days of Future Past story that I grew up with and you discovered when you were
18,
which was yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I would love that the X-Men. I would love to see Wolverine in his yellow spandex.
Or Old Man Logan, even. That would be interesting.
That would be a cool movie to watch as well too. But I don't think it's going to transfer, and I'm okay leaving some of that desire at the door and just walking into the movie to enjoying it as a new experience. What about you, Boredom Breakers? Do you want your X-Men movies, your superhero movies? Do you want your comic book movies staying absolutely true to the source material? Is that what you want out of your?
You say that like it's a bad thing. I think they should be mostly true to the story, because when you mess with things too much,
that's having too much hope. I am okay.
That's true.
I'm okay with understanding that it's a different medium, so some things kind of have to be let go because they can't translate entirely the same to screen.
Yeah.
And sometimes directors think that things can't translate entirely to screen and make poor choices, like leather. lots of leather outfits.
Like Quicksilver, leather glam rock.
See, yeah, they could have
What?
translated that a whole lot differently. So for me, this movie worked because of it. Boredom Breakers, what do you think? Do you agree with Hayley? Do you think that these films need to stay truer to the source material? Or
I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm just saying they could adhere a little bit more to the source.
That's what you want out of your movies. That's maybe what you're going to want out of X-Men Apocalypse. I'm willing to let studios, as long as they produce good scripts, strong narratives, give us good characters. I'm willing to accept certain liberties being taken with the source material. As long as you care about the material and you're trying to tell a good story, I'll let you take those liberties. So, Border Breakers, what did you think? Clearly, we both loved the film. I think we both are around, like, we're giving it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Actually, I would rate it 8.5 Lockheeds out of 10.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Give us Kitty Pryde's dragon.
And if you don't know who Lockheed is, I don't know if you can really see him, but see this cute little guy right here, this purple dragon?
He's not really a dragon. He's an alien species, but
Well,
he looks like a dragon. Yeah.
So
we're
just
giving
call
it
it that.
8.5 Lockheeds out of 10. But what did you think? Did you like the film? Did you not? Do you agree with Hayley? Do you agree with me? Remember, if you want to win that sweet-ass X-Men collage, you have to subscribe to us on YouTube and then leave a comment letting us know whose side are you on? Who
Come on,
do you
man.
trust?
Just pick me.
Who do you trust?
do the
It's like
honorable
Marvel
thing.
Civil War right now. Whose side are you on? Or Avengers versus X-Men
I'm
right
totally
now.
Steve Rogers. You can be Tony Stark if you want. So, I'm anti-Superhuman Registration Act.
He was so douchey in that.